Hello everybody! A few months back on this channel, I talked about how much I was looking forward to comic book movies embracing the earnest silliness and bright colors of the Silver Age as embodied by the then upcoming Superman at DC and the Fantastic Four First Steps at Marvel. Both movies are out now, and Dan Casey has a great video about Superman you can watch elsewhere on this platform. But it falls to me to talk about the Fantastic Four First Steps. And you know what? It's pretty good. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe and press that notification. Okay, fine. Yeah, you got me. I have more to say than that. Since I started covering comic book movies those 15 years ago, I don't think I've been both as hopeful and worried for two movies as I have been for Superman and TFF-FS. That's probably what I'll not call it anymore. I definitely breathed a huge sigh of relief after Superman, content in the knowledge that James Gunn has the new DCU well in hand. And while I did really like Fantastic Four, and we'll get into that here shortly, I can't help but still feel a sense of unease about the future of the MCU. Not because of the movie itself, but because of everything we know to be coming down the pike. The Fantastic Four First Steps is truly perhaps the most standalone Marvel movie Marvel Studios has ever produced, taking place fully and completely in its own universe with only a brief tease at the end promising its connection to the greater MCU. As a movie, it's a fantastic, you see what I did there, representation of a specific era of Marvel Comics, a massive tribute to the early Jack Kirby and Stan Lee days, and a fitting representation of these characters. It isn't perfect, but it's the best Fantastic Four movie by a factor of about 19 million.
Say that again?
The characterizations were good, the action was good, the story was ripped from old comics, the aesthetic was exactly right. And yet, I am troubled. I'd love for more MCU movies to be like this, but we know for the foreseeable future we won't get it. Is this a tease for years down the line, or a tantalizing look at what might have been if not for the weight of 20 years of storytelling? But I'm getting ahead of myself. From here on out, we're going to be getting into the weeds with spoilers and whatnot, plus a look at what Kevin Feige said in recent interviews. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, let Herbie show you on out. The Fantastic Four First Steps is essentially a big screen adaptation of the famous Galactus trilogy from the original Lee and Kirby comics. Between issues 48 and 50, Galactus, the Devourer, came to our planet to destroy it to appease his never-ending hunger, heralded by Silver Surfer, who eventually became an ally to the FF. It's one of the Fantastic Four's defining achievements, and Galactus has proven to be a compelling force in the comics going forward. What's different, of course, is that this isn't Earth 616, or Earth 199999999, depending on which Iman Vellani you ask. It's in fact Earth 828, the specific universe where everything is super Jack Kirby as hell. We even learned during a lovely tribute in the end credits that it's Earth 828 because Kirby's birthday was August 28th. Really nice. That also explains why it's Shala Bal instead of Norrin Rad as the Silver Surfer in this story. That way we can have the same story, but save the main Silver Surfer for future stories. Pretty smart. The Fantastic Four First Steps takes place 4 years into the adventures of the Fantastic Four. Following a space mission which bombarded the crew with cosmic rays, each receives their own totally separate superpower. Dr. Reed Richards, played by Pedro Pascal, the smartest man alive, can stretch his limbs like rubber. Sue Storm, played by Vanessa Kirby, can turn invisible and create massive force fields. Her brother Johnny, played by Joseph Quinn, can set himself on fire and fly. And pilot Ben Grimm, played by Eben Moss-Bachrach, becomes a giant, huge orange rock person with immense strength. Oh, and he needs to shave? The We see a montage of their exploits against various enemies, including Mole Man, played by Paul Walter Hauser, and Giganto, both from the very first issue of the comic. I love that we basically follow the path of the comics. We hear about villains like Mad Thinker, Red Ghost, and Wizard, all of whom predate Galactus in the comics. And Galactus shows up roughly 4 years into the comic run. It's pretty great. Just as Reed and Sue learn she's pregnant, a mysterious emissary, the Silver Surfer Shala Bal, played by Julia Garner, appears and heralds the coming of Galactus. Galactus will, in due course, arrive and devour the entire planet. So good luck and hug your loved ones, I guess. This doesn't sit well with our heroes who go off into space to learn more about their foe. Meeting Galactus himself, played by Ralph Ineson, the big guy says they can spare the planet if they give up their child. See, we comic book fans know that their child is Franklin Richards, an incredibly powerful mutant or cosmic entity with reality warping abilities. In this movie, Galactus says he has the power cosmic and can allay the giant gobbler's need to feed and allow him some rest. The FF then have to figure out a way to save their son without sacrificing the entire planet and everyone counting on them. What works so well and surprisingly about the Fantastic Four First Steps is the style and action hides what is actually a very small story with shockingly few characters. The movie is mainly, almost myopically focused on the Fantastic Four themselves and their intellectual, ethical, and emotional struggle. Aside from the three villains I listed above, only Sarah Niles as Lynn Nichols of the Future Foundation, Mark Gatiss as talk show host Ted Gilbert, and Natasha Lyonne as Ben Grimm's meet-cute Rachel Rosman have supporting roles. It's a staggeringly small cast for a Marvel movie. This allows for actual characterization. Reed's inability to outthink this existential threat. Sue's stalwart pledge to save her son and her planet. Johnny and Ben's near constant verbal jabs. It's not just their superpowers and their comfy-looking costumes. It's, and I can't believe I'm saying this, like it's revolutionary, it's characters we actually care about.
Oh, shoot.
This is not to say the Fantastic Four First Steps is perfect by any means.
Oh, shoot.
The pacing is very weird, and parts feel very truncated, while others feel stretched, like so many Mr. Fantastic. Ben Grimm really gets the short end of the stick. He's in a lot of the movie, but aside from a couple of scenes with him walking down Yancey Street, he's always with the other members of the team. Lyonne's screen time is the bare minimum for any of that storyline to work. Johnny also, very weirdly, gets the bulk of the clunky exposition. He takes it upon himself to translate messages from outer space based on something Shala Bal says to him in her own language. I like that he isn't just a girl-crazy goof-off and actually does something. But as the world works together to build massive bridges to move the Earth, he's evidently done enough research to write what amounts to an episode of A&E's biography about her. It is Kalunk City. The film, beginning with an already established FF, is totally fine. I do, however, wish we'd gotten to see more of the earlier battles, many of which might have fit the tone better. And some of the dialogue is really only saved by having such good actors delivering it. I also think the movie really peaks in the middle. When the FF go into space to confront Galactus, we get a lengthy sequence of them flying in their cool-ass ship, the Excelsior, seeing a planet get devoured, meeting Galactus, running away from Galactus, and then having an extended chase with Silver Surfer through hyperspace as Sue has to give birth in zero gravity. It's so f***ing cool. I wish the end sequence could have lived up to it. Even if I love that Ralph Ineson in costume got to walk through models of NYC like some kind of purple top-hatted Godzilla. I like this movie. Both it and Superman have been touted by us and others as the needed saviors of their respective franchises. Superman had the pressure of birthing a new continuity, a new take. The Fantastic Four First Steps, by contrast, needed to prove Marvel still has the juice. It needed to be its own thing, a good movie that could hopefully make loads of money after a string of underperformers. If this is what the MCU will look like with self-contained stories and insular, almost Phase 1-esque continuity, I will be pretty happy. But we also know it's not going to happen until at least 2028. Why? In a word, doom. The mid-credits scene of First Steps moves the action 4 years in the future as Sue is reading to tow-headed Franklin. When she turns around, she sees someone is in the Baxter building. He's got a green cape and hood and he holds a metal mask, showing Franklin, but no one else, his true face. We then read, the Fantastic Four will return in Avengers Doomsday. And that's really the thing of it, isn't it?
That's just in the cartoon.
A whole year ago, Marvel made a billion headlines by revealing Avengers 5 would no longer be Kang Dynasty and would in fact be Avengers Doomsday, and that playing Dr. Doom, arguably Marvel's most iconic villain, would be Robert Downey Jr. a mere handful of years after hanging up another metal mask as Tony Stark. It was definitely a good hype builder. We then, several months later, had to watch an 8-hour live stream or whatever it was of a series of chairs detailing the myriad actors who would appear in the movie alongside Downey. Among those were the Fantastic Four, the Thunderbolts/New Avengers, various other Avengers, Thor and Loki, Shang-Chi, plus quite a few of the cast members of Fox's now defunct X-Men universe. We already know, because he's a legend who can't stop telling secrets, that Alan Cummings' Nightcrawler will fight Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards for at least a brief moment. Marvel weren't too happy about this and called him a traitor. Doomsday will premiere December 2026 and its follow-up Avengers Secret Wars coming in 2027. This all seems to be a take on Jonathan Hickman's legendary run stretching from Fantastic Four through an Avengers run and finally into the Secret Wars event, which saw an incursion event smash universes together until finally a prime Marvel universe emerged. Kevin Feige recently explained in an interview that after Secret Wars, the MCU is going to experience a reset. And I'm not talking about like Thanos snapping his fingers and 5 years passing. I'm talking about more of a formal reboot. So all of this tracks. But my question is, why not do it now? Why feel so beholden Caulfield to a continuity 25 years old? Disney has had the rights to the X-Men for 6 years, and the only X-Men things we've gotten within the MCU itself have been stuff from the old universe in the form of Kelsey Grammer and all the Silly Billy references in Deadpool and Wolverine. Feige also said in that same interview that they want to try to get away from fans feeling like the MCU is homework, what with all the TV shows and movies and stuff. I can definitely get on board with that. As someone who gets to cover this stuff for a living, it's pretty exhausting to keep straight.
You have homework. You have a lot of homework.
Well, what if I didn't?
This, he said, is why some of the more recent movies haven't done well. And now they're bringing back a zillion people to do maybe the most complicated plot possible, definitely entirely based on huge knowledge of not only the MCU, but of Fox X-Men stuff. Almost assuredly, we'll also get a Council of Reeds, presumably utilizing other actors who've played Reed Richards in the past. I sort of feel like Feige, who got his start in those self-same Fox X-Men movies and who only has 2 years left on his current contract, wants to go out with a big bang. By the time Secret Wars comes out, it'll be 8 years since Endgame and 19 years since the beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The MCU hasn't really had much focus during phases 4 and 5, so rather than do a current regime team-up, we'll get a big ol' everything Marvel explosion. I'll say this, I like knowing things as much as the next guy who knows things. But just as I said in my Andor video, simply knowing the reference, getting to enact a Leonardo DiCaprio gif for realsies, does not automatically make something good.
I understood that reference.
It's a shorthand to get people who like other things to care about the new things. The MCU absolutely needs a refresh. It needs new versions of beloved characters, new actors playing those characters, and new takes on the cinematic world outside our windows. The Fantastic Four First Steps feels like it could in fact be the first steps toward that kind of thing. And not everyone needs recasting. I'd be happy if some Avengers Emeritus like Doctor Strange or street-level people like Daredevil and Punisher stayed the same. I also want to know things are going somewhere. So if you aren't going to do anything with the Young Avengers or Hercules or Star Fox or Clea, don't introduce them in a tease for nothing. Also, did you guys know Mephisto is in the MCU now? Like for reals? And hardly anyone seems to have mentioned it?
Who the hell are you, man?
But above all, I want to feel like I'm watching the best versions of these stories because I love them and I love these characters. This movie gave us the very best versions of the Fantastic Four we've ever had, and I want more of them. Let's do that with the X-Men and Spider-Man and everybody. I think getting through the cacophony of Doomsday and Secret Wars will mean we get a quieter, more focused status quo, and that truly does give me hope. But tell me, what do you think? Did you like the Fantastic Four First Steps? Are you looking forward to Doomsday and Secret Wars, or do you just want them to get on with the X-Men already? I mean, God, can we just get a Mojoverse movie, or is that still a long shot? That's a joke for like 8 people. Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and if you want more, why not watch Dan's breakdown of his Franklin Richards theory, or listen to Hector Navarro and me talk about the Fantastic Four even more on Laser Focus wherever you get your podcasts. But now, for everything else in the multiverse of media, keep it glued to Nerdist.com.